ephemeral affair. It seems as if you're scared that being here could wear you down.
I like this particular transition, going from that full-on chorus to a bridge where everything moves farther away, all the way to the back of the soundstage. That's a risky mix move to make though, because if you move stuff away from the listener, it's harder for that listener to keep his attention on the music. So distance can only exist as a difference between foreground and background in music. If everything is background, it just becomes meaningless. So it's important to have stuff that's in the foreground, and in this case I chose the bass part to fulfill that role, because the bass part is basically the only part that has a continuous rhythm to it. The drums in this section aren't playing a straight beat anymore, and the mellotron is just playing very long notes. So the bass part is the part that will sort of guide the listener through this section. So let's have a listen to it. Now, it was recorded with a Moog low-pass filter to make it more dreamy sounding. Now that's all nice, but I needed to fulfill a rhythmic function as well, so I added a slight bit of the DI, just enough to make that rhythm audible. So if you listen to the section without the bass part, you notice it's just all far away. And when I switch it on, the depth starts making sense again. So that's a role for the bass. But now on with the next question is, how did I create that depth? It's basically two reverbs, one on the drums, it's this one. This is an old EMT gold foil reverb, and I think it works nicely to make it distant and big, but in a somewhat an organic way. Not realistic, but I just like what it does on drums. And then the other one is this one, which is an Eventide space pedal. It's great for creating these endless amounts of reverb. They seem to last forever. And these two together, they really create that atmosphere in the bridge part. So if I mute all the reverbs, you hear the effect. And now we're in the next section where the lead guitar is entering. And I don't want to make it like a lead guitar that's too far up front, because I need to save some energy for the last chorus. So to prevent the lead guitar from being too direct sounding, I added this combination of Dimension T chorus with a ping pong delay added. That helps to prevent the lead guitar from jumping out of the speakers too much. It sort of gels with the rest of the atmospheric sounds. Okay, so now we've arrived at the last chorus, and the challenge is to beat the bigness I created in the bridge with something that is sounding even more impressive. That's a hard thing to do, because this bigness sort of suggests a whole lot. I don't want to create the impact for the last chorus by using that much reverb. It sort of doesn't fit that section. So I need to come up with stuff that takes the next step but isn't as big sounding. So that's why I'm thinking the other way around with this last chorus, not adding more distance and adding more room, but adding directness and upfrontness to the sound.
You're never really there, almost as if you're scared that being here could wear you down.
So if you listen to the bass part, the original is this one, and I'm just adding a tube compressor and sense amp distortion on top of that, which makes it more direct and more upfront. And then a similar thing for the snare drum. This is basically a distorted, equalized version of the snare, also slightly gated, and it just helps to give it a more dry, direct hit. So all these things add up to a more upfront sounding chorus.
Could wear